I think.
All right, we're all set.
Hey, 1 o'clock, I'll call the November 21st Board of Commissioner meeting to order. We'll have a prayer from Commissioner Heberling and the pledge by Commissioner Lee.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity and the freedom, dear Lord, that we can come and meet as elected officials and do the business of our community and our county. We thank you, Lord, for the many blessings you bestowed upon us, especially remembering the time of Thanksgiving. We pray for the families that are not so fortunate in our community. We pray that you would wrap your arms of love and protection around them. And Lord, we just pray as we go through our meeting this afternoon, that you would guide and direct us in the decisions we make. We give you the honor and the glory and the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
I forgot my list, so
You can remember us, right?
I do. Chairman John Black,
Present.
Commissioner Lee. Present. Commissioner Sarkella,
Here.
Commissioner Heberling.
Here.
Commissioner Black, Ballard, sorry.
I'm here too.
And Commissioner Ehart,
Here.
Commissioner Moody.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
If there are no other corrections, additions, or deletions to the agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of NFA 013-23.
I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Heberling to adopt the amended agenda. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is adopted. Moving on to our meeting minutes from November 7th, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Heberling, support from Commissioner Sarkella to approve the minutes from November 7th. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We received your correspondence through email from Jody the other day. That'll move us into introductions, and we have MSU Extension Carly Krager. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's not very phonetic, so. But good afternoon. My name is Carly Krager. I am the new District 10 Director of MSU Extension. So I serve the 5 counties of the thumb. I've been with Extension for just over 9 years now. I've always been housed in our Tuscola County office in Caro. I started out as a SNAP-Ed community nutrition instructor there and did that for about 5 years. And then moved into a supervising educator position, which I was doing previous to this role for about 4 more years. So I was supervising a team of the community nutrition instructors in districts 9, 10, and 9, which is kind of the Saginaw Bay, Shiawassee, Genesee area. So been in this role for exactly 3 weeks now, so still lots of learning, but I'm excited to learn more about each county and uniqueness and get to work with you all more. So.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions for Carly?
How long was you in Shiawassee County?
I was never housed there, but I supervised a couple of staff
Gotcha.
members there
Yeah.
for 4 years.
Nice area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I think I'm on the finance and administrative meeting agenda as well, so I'll stick around.
So you get
Very good.
Yeah. Thank
Thank you
you.
for being here. Thanks. Okay, that will conclude introductions. At this time, we'll move into commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Moody.
The 8th, I attended the Speaker Township Board meeting. They did set their dates for their special land use permit for December 6th, 7th, and 8th at 6 o'clock. It's going to be in Peck. They approved their 9-day early voting. Just paid some invoices, really. It was that one. And then I had Fremont board meeting. It was their first meeting with their new board. just kind of, didn't really have a whole lot on their agenda, just, getting a lot of the stuff in order with the new board and stuff, so. That's it.
Okay, thank you, John. Evans?
All our meetings are next week.
Okay, I have no report myself today. Christine?
I went to Maple Valley, Flint Township, Elk Township, City of Brown City, and Village of Peck, and business as usual. Nothing new, nothing major going on.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Bill?
Bridgehampton Township, went through their board of review training and, they need one member for that and they're working on, spending some of their ARPA money down, getting all that taken care of. And then Sand Lake Township approved a land division, working on their water project, of course, had some dog issues that the sheriff department's involved in. And then they're moving forward with CFA, so hopefully they'll have all that done. I had gathered some information from, Todd Hillman for them to utilize with, how they're gonna make up their board moving forward. They really need a citizen at large is what's gonna happen. They were looking for someone to give them 5 members instead of 4 or 2 from each entity. So that's looking real positive and moving forward.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Gary?
Yep, thank you. I attended, last night, I attended the, Sandusky City Council meeting, also Custer Township. And because they start almost simultaneously, I had to leave the Sandusky City Council meeting, but I did give my monthly report and, in that report, I told them that we will be meeting today, our buildings and ground, discussing the animal shelter, and I invited City Manager Dave Faber, which Dave came, we're meeting today at 11 o'clock, and I'll report on the commissioners, or the committee's report a little bit later on. So there was a good meeting from what I was told from Dave. I didn't get to hear it all. I think Eric recorded most of that. And then I attended the Custer Township meeting, and according to the meeting last night, when they talked about the solar ordinance they had passed, there's a referendum in that now. And there's enough signatures to put it into a referendum, and that's, and Leslie, you probably know more about it than I do.
Like,
It's coming up in the February ballot. So the question was asked, what happens if it's voted down? That they relate or not relate, they go back to the old ordinance, or they can start anew. So you know, I think every township has been dealing with this, and they're probably not the only one. So that came out of that, and the rest of the meeting was just general business. One thing I do want to bring up, and I want to take some time, if I may, Chairman. Last week, there was a post put on Facebook about right to farming in this community, and I think we've all dealt with the big machinery going up and down the road, the dust, the health issues. And I just want to remind everyone, there is a right to farm in our state. There is a Second Amendment in our state. And when we are asked to start changing these things, we got to be really careful. And what I mean by changing them, in these posts on Facebook, they quickly zeroed in on commissioners that we need to do something and take care of this so it quits happening. And I think you've dealt with it in your township. I've dealt with it. But so the first warning I want to give, we need to be very careful. These are things that are passed to protect gun laws, the Second Amendment. Right to farming is to protect farmers. And I do understand, please, I want to say this again. I understand the concern about people that are not farmers and the dust and the chemicals and things that take place when these vehicles are going up and down the road. So with that said, I told a couple of the people that posted, I will bring it up in our meeting, and I only bring it up to make you aware that this is probably not going to go away. I'm talking about the right to farm and about the dust and about the heavy equipment on the road, not stopping for stop signs. It's probably not going to go away because things have changed. When I grew up and Chris grew up on a farm, we had 100 horsepower tractors, small equipment that never come into play, you know. And now we got big tankers, we got big tractors, but and creating some issues. But again, that is the right. And you know, in that post, people were complaining there's 14-year-old kids driving these tractors and manure spreaders. Well, I've got neighbors and I've got family that we drive the same thing. That's a right to farm. And so I just want to give a forewarning that this issue is probably not going to go away. And what I did respond to, and I think it was a correct response to give, and I sent it by message because I didn't want it to go on Facebook because it'd be all over the universe. I addressed it to a couple of people. I said, I think that what's going to happen here, we're going to have farming industry part of it. We're going to have elected officials part of it, probably environmental. And I think that needs to be a way higher level than here at our local commissioner level. So I said, I can't make that happen. But I said, if it's that important, I think that's where it's got to start. And it's got to start with a collaborative group of people that are involved with that, can actually think it through correctly. And if there is changes to be made or variations to be made. So again, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. It popped up. It was a pretty hot debate. They're usually pretty emotional, right? And as I've said many times, when you go to Facebook and you see all these emotional debates, you got to really look at what's factual and what's not factual. But so just bringing it up in the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Roger?
Last night I attended the Lamont Township meeting. They approved an agreement for legal services with Fletcher, Falco, Shouty and Francis of Port Huron to represent them. And they also approved the Lamont Township Fire Department joining a mutual aid agreement with Tuscola County and also their Fire Departments Association. That's about it.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yeah, thank you. First off, I'd like to welcome Carly. Glad to see that she is here and nice introduction. I was actually at a meeting over in Lapeer probably 6 or 8 weeks ago, maybe even a little longer now, that she led on regional housing stuff and did a very good job. So I'm excited for her to be here and be able to help our county. Second thing I want to discuss just let Ms. Hilgendorf, our clerk, know she did a great job with the election stuff. Their office always does a phenomenal job of getting people in, moving them along. So nice that the information is live. I know they work with our IT department and Nancy there, and just everything runs very smooth. People come through. It's just the process is very quick. So good work. The building will be closed on Thursday and Friday for the holidays, so just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. We do have it posted on our website. It's on the doors, but we will be closed. Hopefully heat on the side of the building will be in place tomorrow sometime. And then it'll be much easier to stay warm while working. We could get rid of a lot of space heaters on this side of the building. Adam Rivette is here from One Digital, his company. I'm excited to have him present before you guys and excited for our employees to hear some ideas of how his company can come in. He can guide us as a fiduciary on our retirement plans and really benefit the employees with the work his company is able to do and kind of get into the costs of our retirement plans and what's assessed to the employees and mitigate that cost. So, and then last thing, the draft copies of the master plan are in the back for you guys to pick up today. We have that on the website as well. I know the County News published the link to that. Initially, the link wasn't correct. I believe Lisa Kenny got back to the County News and that was corrected. So now when you click on it, it can be loaded. If people have the digital copy of the County News, or they can just search it on their computer, type in the. We also have the guidebooks as well. So that has been completed and the guidebooks are available for you guys to distribute as well. And if it's something we wanted to do, I could probably put those have those placed on the website as well. So
I would say probably just go ahead and do that. Nathan.
yeah, okay. We can do that as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Nathan?
Nope.
Seeing none, appreciate your report, Nathan. At this time, I'll call for public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we will move on. We have a presentation from Adam Rivet. Adam, welcome.
Thank you very much. I was gonna say, how do I control this?
If you would. Just be.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And here's a physical copy.
Thank you.
I always know the success and failure rate for anything involving a computer, so better safe than sorry. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Here.
All right, so I was told to take 10 minutes or less, and so I will do my best to do that. I'm setting a timer.
Who told you that?
A very important person.
Gary,
knows
Gary,
that I
get the
can
memo.
Sorry, so I'm setting a timer for my benefit and yours, potentially. Test this out.
You're using the back and forth?
I was, yeah.
It is on, correct?
Mouse. I wonder if I just click on it.
So I can move them for you if,
Yeah, that would be fine.
if you want to just give me a cue.
Sure, not a problem. I'll just. So by way of introduction, my name's Adam Rivet. I'm a retirement plan consultant or advisor. I've been doing this for governmental bodies, higher education, and then for-profit companies for about 12 years now. Started out actually in the governmental space, working for a company called Empower, who is one of the 457 providers here. Now work as an independent consultant nationwide, but happen to live right over by the golf course. So I'm right here in Sandusky. Have actually worked when I was at Empower, kind of under plan behind the scenes about 8 years ago. And through the process of some change at the administration here, have had some meetings initially, and actually in the past talked with Gary, great guy, about what is going on with your plan and ways we could improve it. And when I say improve it, the focus for that improvement is actually not, and I hate to say this, not saving the county money, but saving the participants in the plan money. And so that is the underlying factor here, is to make this plan better for the people in it, to save them cost administratively on the administration and the investments, and then to provide some oversight and process, very similar to what you're doing already on the DB or the pension plan for the DC or the defined contribution plan. And so if I say anything and you want me to elaborate, just let me know. So if you don't mind, go to the next slide.
Well, guess not.
And if not, I can just paint you a picture of what should go. So what does that mean, or what does my role entail? So my role, plan design optimization. So that's really when we're looking at how you're providing the benefit to the participants and what plan you're using. So these codes that you're probably familiar with, 401k, 457, 403b, 401a, those are actually the tax codes that they fall under in order to provide that taxable benefit or tax deferred benefit. So with the county, the two that are very common on a DC plan are a 457 and a 401a. A 401a is where the county is giving people a certain amount of money every week or month while they're working at a certain rate, and that goes in until they retire, at which point that stops. A 457 is the employee saving their own money on a tax deferred basis, or now we have a 457b, which is the same as a Roth IRA, except for a plan. So plan design optimization. So we're looking at what you have today. How can we structure that to the best benefit of the employees and participants? We help their fee negotiation. This is a huge part of my job. I end up being a negotiator, a bargain maker, and a deal maker with the different vendors and parties involved, because unfortunately, there's no set fee schedule in this world. And so it's all coming to the table with what are you paying, what should you be paying, and what sort of clout do you have? So I work with, in the state, about $4.5 billion. So I have a lot of clout when it comes to these companies as far as what we're working with. And when they see me, they will usually drop the fee just as a part of, they know how much business we've done, we know where it should be priced, and we know what they have done with other counties, such as yourselves. So vendor management is working with companies like Nationwide, Empower, Fidelity, Hancock, Voya, you name it. Participant education and wellness. So this is the other really key factor for making something successful. So one, we can spend all day long working at an administrative level, working with commissioners, trying to design a plan that's
better, cheaper, and more effective. But if the employees don't understand it, don't use it, don't understand how they should be using it, we have done a poor job and we're not going to get anywhere. Because if they don't know how to do it properly, we've failed. And so that's a big part of me. So often I would have my team come in and help with this. Since you guys are 1 mile from my physical location, you would be stuck working with me for participant interactions and plan level interactions. So, so that's how we would handle that. So what do I mean by that? We'd be working with like the sheriff's department, any departments within the county to do group level education and one-on-one education for those that want it. Investment monitoring and reporting. This is going to be done more on the high level. So every quarter we're doing the monitoring, the reporting, the benchmarking, the due diligence on the investments. Your role or the plan sponsor oversight duties are making sure that the plan, the investments and all of these things line up and that they make sense. So we're going to help you with that. And then M&A, not appropriate for you, but fiduciary protection. So all of these things that we should be doing and are doing, we need to design a process that's repeatable, reportable, and makes sense so that even exactly what you do here with your meeting minutes and everything else that goes on, it's documented, it's understood. If someone questions it, you have a process in place that shows you're doing it the right way. And then defined benefit. In this case, we're talking about the DC, so that's something else I do, but not up for discussion today. And that fiduciary training. So if anyone wants education or training on how to properly fulfill their fiduciary roles, not only will we provide that, we'll even pay for or sponsor that, because that is a very important thing that's often misunderstood. I'm talking fast because I know I'm on a timer. So if you could go to the next one. So our big goal is to improve the retirement plan and the investments in them today, reduce the cost of the investments and the administrative fees associated with them, add routine on-site education at a group and participant level, and then administer oversight to work with, and in this case, I'm just going to point out Nate, whether he wants me to or not, but to point out Nate, Jody, and really to just partner with them to provide that really good documented process that's going to really make this best in class. You could go to the next one, please. This is an overview. So I've already done preliminary quoting analysis on where you're at today. So for instance, right now there are 2 457 plans in place. The expenses for Empower are lined up down here. So someone right now today is paying 1.16% all in, or roughly 20,000 and change for the people in that plan today. What I have here is showing that if we were to take over, renegotiate, update, and make some changes, and this is even factoring in myself into the equation, where would we come in at? We'd be under 1% or 91 basis points. These numbers are designed to lower the cost to the employees and at the same time make them better as well. So in this case, a $4,500 savings for those in the Empower plan. And then for the nationwide, same analysis, they're paying about 1.27 on average, or a total cost of 73,000. We can do even more here because we have more assets, we have more things we're negotiating on. So a new total cost in at around 41,000, 91 basis points, cost savings in the 30,000+ department. So this is mostly due to efficiencies in the investments being used, and then the administration being redesigned and negotiated to make sure that it's the most benefit for the participants. So like I said, the county actually doesn't save $1 on this. It's his money. If it's anyone in this plan, they're going to see a direct cost savings on it. And so if you don't mind going to the next one. And then this I kind of already talked about. This is going to be, I think, to do this and to do it successfully, not only do we need to make those changes, we need to educate people on the changes, and we need to work with people to help understand how to use this plan and to do it properly. So that's the other kind of piece that I think we can really improve. And so with this, we've had some new legislation that came out at the end of 2022 called Secure Act 2.0. This is a rippling chain of legislation regarding personal and group retirement plans over the next decade. This would be part of what I'm also helping guide and coach the county through is here's the changes as they come, here's what they mean, here's how we have to adapt to it. We also have changes in administration, allowing kind of a new set of eyes to look at this, reevaluate, and say, what can we do to be compliant with this new legislation coming out? What can we do to make this plan better for our participants? So that's kind of the crux of where this is all coming in. If you don't mind going to the next one. Next one. And this is just for anyone that's curious, this is kind of, when we're talking investments, you will never see an Adam Rivette or a One Digital investment. We do 100% non-proprietary. We work on a fee negotiated, a flat fee. We don't own the investments. We don't make money on them. We don't make money in any fashion other than what's visible, lean and secure. So we work with you with all the large investment providers to provide best in class options for the people, regardless of what company. So right now, if you're in Empower, you see a lot of Empower investments. If you're in Nationwide, you see a lot of Nationwide investments. I will tell you, as we're making improvements, we're going to see a lot of other names brought into this. Because if you're making a salad, you don't just use all lettuce, right? You might want some tomatoes, you might want croutons, you might want other things in there. And that's often because one provider does not offer the best at anything. So even Fidelity, largest asset manager on earth, does not have every investment I would want you to use, right? And certainly not Nationwide or Empower. So next one. All right, so and then this is just a high level overview for everyone of really what that process looks like. Perfect, I'm kind of on time. So we would recommend twice a year to 4 times a year to have an official committee structure to oversee these DC plans. We would do the bulk of the groundwork. So I'm not trying to say we're adding a ton of work onto anyone and everyone in here, but we would want to guide you through 2 to 4 meetings a year to review, understand, analyze, improve, and report on these plans. And so with that, is there anything else you want me to say, do, comment, or questions? I can talk quickly.
Any questions?
I'm good.
You covered it well.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Try to make the most of 10 minutes. So
That's good.
thanks everyone for letting me.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
I'll get out of here, so I'm in time for school pickup. So.
Some people get to make it.
Okay, our next presentation is from Leslie Hogan, County Clerk on early voting. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I like everything.
Can you talk that fast?
That's hard to follow. All right, well, I'm gonna put another hat on today. I have a few hats on in front of you guys today. All right, so I just want to talk to you about early voting. I know I've been kind of promising this for a while. We've just been waiting for all the applications or the agreements to come back from all of the townships. We do have those finally back. Marion was the last one to approve, and so we are fully agreed upon. We're going to have a central location, and it really is just a courtesy to you guys, so you can take it back to your constituents if they have questions, whatever that may be. One thing to remember is that I'm just the coordinator. The county, I'm just coordinating this. It is still township control. They have all the control, so I'm just the coordinator. You guys see, oh, and of course it's not moving for me, Nathan. It was moving in our testing.
You
So just press the down.
The down.
Nope.
There we go.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so you might ask, what is early voting? Well, it's just that. It's an opportunity to vote early in a similar situation that we already do. Can you still see your line? Either regardless of your little monitor.
John took it, I don't.
Okay. Anyway, so in November of last year, Prop 2 passed with approximately 60% of the votes. There's about 3 states left in the nation that have that do not have some form of early voting, and that's New Hampshire, Mississippi, and Alabama. Other than that, everybody has some form of early voting. What are we going to use early voting for? Well, because you might ask, well, we already have absentee voting. What do we need early voting for? Well, it's so that you can go in and touch the ballot, put it through a tabulator. You know, I use my brother-in-law as an example. He's a nurse, works in Port Huron, lives in Speaker Township. So it's a half-an-hour drive to Port Huron, half-an-hour drive home. His shift is from 7:30 p.m. Polls are open from 7 to 8. He just doesn't get there. And he doesn't really want to do AV or absentee voting. He wants to do it in person. So this would be a great opportunity for him. And one thing to keep in mind, and I know it says right here, it is for statewide and federal elections only. So this election we just had, For Fremont Speaker and Sandusky schools. There will be no requirement to do early voting, and it is the consensus of our locals that they have no interest in having early voting in an election that's not state or federal. Because it's just hard. We don't have the manpower. A lot of our folks work jobs, and their jobs at the township are secondary. All right, so next slide, please. So don't laugh. I went to college for IT, not CAD. This is the best I could come up with. This is. You like it? All right, well, this is 95 Dawson, so to speak. So this is where our 9 days of early voting will take place. Is the one central location. The reason I chose 95 Dawson is because there is some requirement for it to be privately owned or county owned, township owned, whatever the case may be. This is a secure location, as it also houses the 911 call center. So this is where this is where the early voting will take place. It is ADA accessible. The reason I didn't choose the courthouse, and I did speak to Nathan a little bit about it, is because we have security. It's not acceptable to ask voters to go through security, take their belt off, etc. Otherwise, I think this would be a great location, but that poses a problem. 9-day early voting does start the weekend before, or 2 weekends before, and ends the weekend before. So it's 9 days from Saturday to Sunday. So for an example, for February, it will run February 17th through the 25th. It is required to be open 8 hours. We will have 3 late nights. So Sunday, Wednesday, and Sunday will be our late nights. It'll be open from noon to 8. And so just so you know, this is just kind of how it feels. The voter walks in, they check in like they normally would. They show their ID. They get checked into the voting, the e-poll book, or so we call it. And then we have a vote on demand printer. So there's not going to be stacks and stacks and stacks of ballots sitting there with the clerk fumbling through trying to find yours, because that would be a mess. Because we're going to have many splits with schools, etc. So we're purchasing an ICX with a printer that will print out a full face ballot. It will look just like the ballot that you will get on election day. So this printer would then print that, you would go vote, and then the state has said, if you're having a one central location, we can only have 10 jurisdictions on each tabulator. So that's why you're seeing 3 tabulators. We have 31 precincts, but where township is working on going down to 1 instead of 2. With this Prop 2, that's something new as well. So each tabulator will house 10 precincts. So there's going to be a big sign on each one, so you know where to put your ballot in, and you're done. The results are not tabulated each day. We will not know the results. The machines just get shut down and locked away. Part of the grant is we're purchasing a cage that will go at 95 Dawson. There will be 2 keys, one in my office and then one with the supervisor. So the supervisor, there will be a supervisor for those 9 days, and that person will have a key as well. So there will only be 2 keys to get into those machines. They will be locked away, secured. And then at the end of those 9 days is when a committee will come together, a receiving board will be appointed. And then at the end of I shouldn't say the 9 days, so at the end of election day, after the polls close, 8 p.m., this receiving board comes to the county and they receive the results, just like any other jurisdiction. Next slide. So you might be asking yourself, how do we know who has voted during these 9 days? Well, there is a requirement in this legislation that we must have live connectivity, a secure internet connection to the QBF, The QVF is the quality voter file. The quality voter file is managed almost daily by your local clerks. So if there's a death, they receive that, they take that person out of their voter roll. If someone moves into their jurisdiction from another, all that is updated almost daily by my office and your local clerks. So there is going to be a need during these 9 days to be connected so that we know who has voted. And I'm going to tell you, it's not going to matter as much in Sanilac because we have one location. So you're only coming to one location to vote. This really comes into a play in maybe more urban communities. I know Huron County is having more than one. So it's when you have more than one early voting site that we need to know, okay, did Commissioner Sarkella go to early voting site 1 and vote at 9 AM? And now he's back at voting site 2 at 4? We would know that right away, that you did that. So that's the purpose of the internet connection. Next slide. So funding, you guys received that, the application the grant application, it was in the agenda. As of right now, the state is paying for everything, and the key word is implementation. So they're paying for us to get these machines. You know, I have extra machines in the office, but those can't be used. It has to be their own machines for these 9 days. So I had to purchase 3 tabulators, new laptop, a new printer, a new ICX, which is the ADA accessible machine. I don't know if any of you have used it, but it's a screen and it has, you know, for hearing disabilities, visual disabilities, anything. I had to purchase a new one of those, 2 actually. So that's what the funding is paying for right now. Like I said, keyword is implementation. I can't speak beyond 2020. You know, right now they're paying for the hourly wage of the inspectors. They're paying for all the equipment. Beyond that, I don't know, you know, 2026 might be a different story. So, as built into this Prop 2, the funding, next please, is they are funding ballot boxes. So I don't know if you have seen some of these pop up. I know in Fremont, they just got theirs and it's sitting right out front. Brown City has one. You're gonna see these popping up across the county. The state has paid for these. The local clerks have ordered them. We just wanted some uniformity in the county. So if the state's paying, let's get them. And again, these are only need to be used during voting time. So any other time they're gonna be covered up. But you'll start seeing these. And then the other part of the next slide, the other part of the funding is postage. So the state has assigned these permit numbers to every jurisdiction. So every jurisdiction is gonna have a different number. And that's gonna go on the applications, the absentee applications, and the absentee ballots. So there's no more postage required for the voter. So what happens is when a voter sends back their ballot or their application, this permit number is scanned through the postal service. And then that is billed back to the state so that the voter no longer has to stamp for their absentee ballot or their application. And that's it, slide. So I just had a question. I'm more open to questions because I know there's going to be questions. So unless you don't.
There's one thing that really doesn't have to do with early election and whatever, but the building 95 Dawson, there is not a sign out there. There are so many people that have gone to meetings there. And the first time they go, they have a hard time finding the building.
I have purchased a ton of signage. I have spoken with the director of the 911 call center about that, because as you know, the door that's right there at the parking lot, it makes people feel like maybe that's the door, but it isn't. So there's gonna be a sign there that says, not here, signs pointing them down the sidewalk or up from the street, because there's a sidewalk from the
Yeah.
street as well. So plenty of signage. Even at 46, I'm gonna have a sign saying, early voting this way. So I would hope that the amount of signage I tend to put
Yeah.
out would help with that, but I do understand what you mean, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because the first time, different committees and stuff, I had a hard time finding this building.
Yeah.
And there's just a little 95 way up high above the doorway.
Yeah.
And,
Hey, Bill and I are buildings and ground. I bet we could get a sign made. Huh?
About time.
yeah, just $95.
Yeah.
I tried for years.
Yeah, so any questions? I know that went fast, but
Good job.
thank you.
Appreciate the presentation, Leslie.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks. Okay, that will conclude presentations. See no need for 13A, 13B, 14, or 15. So we'll move directly into committee reports, and we will start with Commissioner Ballard.
Okay, 2 weeks ago today, we had a county parks board meeting. Briefly on that, the Forester Playground project is complete. I went out last Wednesday and did a walkthrough with contractor. Everything's done. Now I'm starting the reimbursement process, so hopefully by spring we have our grant reimbursement of 80,000. I don't expect to get it before the end of the year with the holidays and whatnot. But it really looks good. We'll be doing a public opening of that after we open in the spring. It's just not that pleasant out on the lake shore right now. The evergreen plans, I got word a week ago, Friday, that the MDNR has approved our bidding documents and our project specs. So we can now put that out for bid. I'm hoping that goes well and we get some good competitive bidding on that. And I look for a spring start date on that. Work has begun on the Lexington Maintenance Building Addition. I was out there yesterday. I had to go out to Forester and take pictures of that project to send in. So I drove on down there and they just started yesterday, putting in the post holes. So nice. That shouldn't take them too long to get that project done. And work is scheduled to begin next week on the sewer project, which was partially funded by the ARPA funds. So it's got a lot going on, and we're working on another possible plan for Lexington for another grant project. The walking trail. These are just conceptual right now. Walking trail, another viewing boardwalk like we did on the south side of the park. That's proved to be a real popular thing. It's accessible with wheelchairs and whatnot. Like a bridge across the creek and some other pathways. So still lots going on at the parks. Then last Friday, I attended the Region 10 PIHP, which is prepaid inpatient health plan for our Santa County CMH. It was a board retreat in Lapeer Friday morning. That was basically to discuss how the CCBHC grant is going to affect how they interact with the Office of the General Inspector for the state. I told them during lunch at the end of the meeting, I said, listening to the group from CMH and how much they learned, I said, I'm glad I'm here to witness that personally, because it was like, it's one of many layers that they have to deal with at CMH, and that's their first language down there, is dealing with all that. Kudos to them, because they do a phenomenal job, like I've said in the past. So that's it.
Thank you, Roger. Gary?
Yep. Excuse me, this morning, we held our ARPA committee meeting. Jonathan and I are part of that, and Christy Bender and Trudy. And we went through what we spent our money on, where we're headed, and I think the group has done a great job over the past, 2.5, 3 years. And also our courthouse employees trying to decide, and how we decided to divide that money up, the ARPA money, what, 8 million, I think it was. And I think we were very prudent with it. I think we were very wise how we did it. And there was a lot of time, a lot of thought put into it. Sometimes we had to go back and look at some other things, but it was a great gift from the government. It may never happen again in our lifetime, but we used the money, I think, very wisely. We had some good input from courthouse employees. We had good input from the team that did it. And the last time that I think we have to report, we decided this morning to our federal government for the money we've taken and used is April 2024, right? That's the last time we have to report that. So we are using some of that money, and I'll cover that in a minute here, for the proposed new animal shelter. And I might as well jump into that. Bill and I had a meeting with Nathan, with Boom Construction, and with the city manager, Dave Faber, and Nick Lusher. Did I catch everybody? And that meeting went extremely well. I know in our ARPA meeting, we wanted to keep that cost, if all possible, for that building around $750,000. That would be the ARPA money that we're using for it, and hopefully stay to that mark. After reviewing the print this morning, and Nathan, you can chip in later and talk about it too if I missed something. We're probably not going to be able to, because of state mandates and some other things, and the space we need, but for state mandates and space we need for the animals, we're probably not going to be able to fund that for $750,000. So Dave Faber was here from, excuse me, from the city manager. He had some input. Our team had some input, and they're gonna go back and look at the drawing one more time, the engineering drawing, and also eventually we're gonna get the mechanical and electric. But I just want everyone here to know, and people listening, again, the county and the county elected officials are trying to build that to the spec for the best price we can. And I know every one of us that's been out in our townships, we get the feedback, are you kidding me? It's gonna cost that much to put a dog and a cat in. Well, when the state has mandates, that changes things, okay? And not saying we agree with it, but they're the state and that's the mandates and the rules that go with it. So enough said about that. Nathan, if you want to expand on that a little bit later, that's fine. This afternoon, excuse me, I have one more thing. The health department, we talked about that. We're looking at putting new windows and new siding on that. And we're probably going to put RFPs back out for that sometime soon again, because we didn't like the price we got that came in for that. So we're trying to use the county taxpayer money to the best we can and be good stewards of it. Tonight at 4 o'clock, Jonathan and I have a meeting with the health department, excuse me, with the Dawson Street for the planning commission. And we're going to be going through, one of the things we're going to be going through is the new master plan. So again, as I explained last night in a couple of meetings, again, kudos to that team and steering committee that put together the master plan over a couple of years. And I think we come up with a very good product, and I think will be well accepted. End of my report. I know that was long, but.
Thank you, Gary. Bill?
ITPC met recently. Door entry is all up and running. The kiosk could be working pretty soon here as well. And then we reviewed a website vendor, so we're going to be redesigning our website. There's a lot of information on there now, and we're trying to make it a lot more user friendly. We use it quite a bit because everything's in there that we need to look at. We had a treasurer meeting. I'm looking at an investment advisor for our investments with the county, the funds that the county holds. There's ways to utilize those dollars better. Nathan's been really good about coming up with some alternatives in different ways, like the presentation we had on the pension plan and so forth. And then buildings and grounds. This morning that Gary mentioned, the animal control shelter. I've been involved with that for several years of discussion now, and hopefully we're going to be able to move that forward. Sandusky's been gracious enough to give us some property kitty corner from where we're at. And we just need to start that process because we have to go to them, get approval to acquire the land, and then move forward with the design, et cetera. Once again, as Gary mentioned, trying to keep the cost down. Unfortunately, the state does have mandates that we have to abide by. Our building is so old that we've been able to stay grandfathered on that. No offense, Gary, but we're a little older. And being grandfathered on that, we've been able to band-aid some things and keep that moving forward as is. And eventually that's coming to an end here. Leslie was able to get funding for election dollars, so maybe the state will be interested in giving us some dollars for animal control. Because there's crazy things you have to have nowadays. As an example, you need to have an exotic room.
Yeah.
So you can't just, if somehow the county ends up with a snake, they can't put the snake in with the dogs and cats. Goats, things like that. So there's just different things that you have to have nowadays that weren't considered, say, in the past. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Christine?
Monday, I had child abuse prevention and the baby pantry did a survey and they're going to do one night a month, having the baby pantry open, and it's probably gonna hopefully start in January. And then later on that afternoon, I had council on aging, and I took the whole board to the Sunrise Pace Center so they can tour it and see what it's all about and to better serve our senior citizens. And we had 14 out of 15 that attended from our county, and Huron County piggybacked with us, and they sent 4 people up to do a tour. And they did a real nice presentation, and then we toured the facility, and then they fed us, and then we came back and had our meeting. And then today I had a health board meeting, and they're looking for volunteers to drive the senior transportation program is in need of individuals willing to volunteer their time to transport area senior citizens in Huron, Sand Lake, and Tuscaloosa counties to medical appointments. And you'll get reimbursed at 65.5 cents a mile. If you have to go someplace that's an all-day thing, we will probably buy you lunch too. Also, COVID, there was 46 cases for this month, 680 for the year so far. A warning, the applesauce is in the pouches for little kids with the lid. They found that mostly they're being sold on Amazon and Dollar Tree or Dollar General, so don't buy that stuff from there. The Tyson chicken dinosaur, whatever it is, has pieces of metal in it, so pass that on to those people. And then if you're wearing hearing aids, may reduce the risk of falls in older adults. They found out that those who wore hearing aids had about a 50% reduced odds of experiencing a fall compared to non-users. And then it says that even those that only wore them for 4 hours a day. So, let's see. The use of e-cigarettes and stuff has gone down in high school students. They fell down to 10% this year, 14% last year. And then junior high, middle school students went from 4.6% to 3.3%. And they're finding this the ones that are the flavor like bubble gum and that type of flavor. And then there was 440,000 fewer high school students said they used tobacco products, dropping from 2.51 million in 2022 to 1.97 million in 2023. And the Maple Valley, the property is looking pretty good over there. They've been holding senior dances. A Girl Scout group is using one room to store shoes that they've been collecting. And the police have been using it over there for self-defense training. And the health department's gonna launch a new website starting, their target date is January 1st, 2024. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Christine. I had an ARPA meeting this morning with Gary and a planning meeting with him later today, but you covered that pretty well, Gary. The only thing I would remind commissioners of related to the packets in the back with the guidebook and the master plan is that master plan is still the draft copy. So you're giving that to them, let them know that if they have comments or, any information they'd like changed or suggestions, that there's still time for that. That's all I have. Evans?
I have nothing new to report from.
Please.
All I have is I would like to congratulate a couple of 3 people at the sheriff's office. Deputy Chris Emmerich achieved his national certified corrections officer. I think it was last month. They went to get that. And then Lieutenant McConaughey achieved his national certified corrections executive, and so did Under Sheriff Nate Smith.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Good. Thank you, John.
Congratulations.
Appreciate everyone's committee reports. That will take us to the backside of our agenda. There's no need for unfinished business. We'll move directly into new business. And we will start with FA 156-23, approval of 2023 current claims.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2023 identified on the accounts payable report dated November 14, 2023 for the general bank account in the amount of $88,444.50. Support.
I have a motion for Finance Chairman Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 157-23, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts as listed.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarcella. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 158-23, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged to October 2023.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank account checks charged to October 2023 as follows. $1,034,990.40 ACH payments, $67,762.63 online bill pay, $392,560.23 in checks for a total of $1,495,313.26.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner, is that you, Roger?
It was me and somebody else.
Okay, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 159-23, authorization of renewal of library millage language.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes following county library millage proposal ballot question language reviewed by the prosecutor to be placed on the February 27th, 2024 presidential primary election.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 160-23, authorization to post and fill custodial maintenance position.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the building and ground supervisor post and fill a custodial maintenance worker position at pay grade 3, step 1 for immediate approval and further to approve the revised job description as follows. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion?
Yes, Nathan, we talked, excuse me, talked about that in our personnel meeting. We have to move forward. What did we say the timeline? Was that January 1st? We're gonna try to.
No, we want to fill that as soon as possible because we had our gal who was in that role. Her last day was the 17th, so we're actually doing some interviews next Monday.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Discussion related to FA 160-23. Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 161-23, authorization of courthouse closure.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes closure of the courthouse offices on Friday, December 1, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. for the purpose of conducting the annual employee Christmas party.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 162-23, authorization to purchase gunshot boxes, dual unit drug task force.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes purchasing gunshot boxes dual unit for remotes from scenarios trainers at a cost not to exceed $3,960 with funding from the Drug Task Force.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 163-23, authorization to purchase snow blower, Parks Commission.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the Parks Board purchase a MK Martin model SB 78 PT snow blower, including the hydraulic rotator for Forest Park and Tri-County equipment of Sandusky at a cost not to exceed $6,900 with funding from the Parks millage.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion?
Hopefully we don't need to use it.
I don't know if we're gonna get that lucky. Any further discussion related to FA 163-23? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 164-23, approval of employment agreements, Veterans Affairs.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the employment agreements for transportation coordinators between the Sand Lake County Department of Veteran Affairs and John Brinker, John Maher, Robert Deere, and John Povolunas, effective January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024, and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary agreement.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 012-23, authorization for fire suppression system repair, Sheriff's Office.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes Fire Pros Fire Protection Service to repair the fire suppression system to cost not to exceed $6,933.58 with funding from the commissary fund.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion?
This was not on finance, right?
It was not.
Correct.
Any further discussion related to NFA 012-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we'll move to our salmon color sheet of NFA 013-23, approval of district court magistrates.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the appointments of Leslie Clark and Ivana Govia to the positions of magistrate for the 73A District Court.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella. Do I have support?
Support.
Support from Commissioner Ballard. Sir. Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That will conclude new business. At this time, I'll call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments today?
Yeah, I just have a quick question if I can. Leslie, thank you for everything you're doing with this voting stuff. This is crazy, trying to get everything together. Thank you. So if did I hear you right, then all the townships had voted to do the central located. Okay, I just wanted to
They
know
all-
where everything
they
was
all
going on with
agree.
that. I do get concerned, boy, oh boy, you know, I feel that we're losing some authority at the local level, but yet you reassured us that the townships will still have input into that, so. That's a little
100% you
reassuring,
will.
But
You will see their faces at the early voting. They are all signing up for each day to work, and
but the state owns all the tabulators that go in. Okay.
I can't say they don't because they paid for them, but they are ours and in my possession, so.
And again, seriously, thanks. I know it's a lot of work.
Any further public comment today? Seeing none?
Could Leslie repeat those hours one more time? So it needs to be 8 hours every day. So it starts on Sunday or Saturday, the 17th. And I could tell you very specifically, I didn't bring the agreement with me. But it's going to be 8 to 4 on Saturday, noon to 8 on Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, 8 to 4. Wednesday, noon to 8. Thursday, Friday, 8 to 4. And then Saturday, 8 to 4 as well, and then Sunday, noon to 8. You're welcome.
Just another question.
Mhm.
You have all the coverage you need for poll workers.
Well, that sign up sheet isn't fully out there yet. I do have some that have reached out to me early. I'm planning on getting that out hopefully today or tomorrow, but yeah, they're all biting at the bit. They want to sign up. So we have coverage for supervisors, and then there's a requirement for 3 workers each day. So 1 supervisor, 3 workers, and yeah, we're gonna have more than enough coverage. Yep.
One more.
Sure.
So is it all gonna be at this city over there, or is like the traditional voting day, then it's still at the town?
The traditional voting day will be back at your precinct. Yes, yeah.
Any further public comment?
And a comment from Ms. Lee there, she can give me some information regarding the transportation of the city.
Oh, I have a flyer here if you want to come up afterwards and get the information.
Okay, well, we will move on. I see no need for closed session or approval of closed session minutes, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 2:04.
So move.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarchellis, support from Commissioner Ehart. All those in favor, signal by saying aye. Opposed? We are